All right. 9, 10, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ice Skate 5, go! So, hello everyone again. This is Freedom Planet Race. This is Carol Adventure Mode. The reason because we run Adventure Mode, Carol, is something that you're already watching right now, and this is because in Classic Mode you play all the levels one and then the other, and in Adventure Mode you have the cutscenes. So, guess why we are playing Adventure Mode? Can
Playing
you guess,
stages
Nacho?
takes time. I don't like spending time in this
Exactly,
game.
because cutscenes are long, cutscenes are annoying, but you can skip them. And skipping them means skipping 2 entire levels for Carol. So you can see how actually both skip the scene exactly when Lilac Dragon Boost. Lilac was the purple gear, and then Carol for some reason was heading right during the cutscene. So she enters in the new screen, which for some reason is something between Relic Maze, the second level, and suddenly we are in the cutscene from Fortune Knight, the third level. So Fortune Knight is a level, the new reset level. Always the first level it has tons of resets. And in this case, it's a level that Carol has the bike very early in the game. We can see that Basher actually had a nice start. I can tell the same for Nacho. Nacho took the invulnerability crystal. Basher has the air shield. Air shield attracts crystals. Crystals Feels meter is actually not a huge difference for Carol, except for wild kicks. Is one of the movements she has, and she also spends meter by boosting on the bike, but that you can boost without meter. So actually, it's better not having meter because boost and wild kicks button is exactly the same. So you can actually try to grab a wall and boost on a hit and accidentally wild kick and just fall. So it's actually more comfy not having meter Carol. So we can see how both are actually reaching the first skip in the level, and actually the only one for Carol. The other characters have a first one, and this is a wrong warp, and it's not very consistent at all. Oh, Basher missed it. Such a shame. Well, the wrong warp you mount the ceiling and you do the magic for turnaround, which is not exactly easy. And the wrong warp is a pixel based. Nacho is actually got it. Nice, Nacho. Well, that it's a wrong warp, sends you to the last coordinates checkpoint in the second screen, but in third screen, so you're skipping a lot of third screen actually. Still, Nacho took his
It's like half
time.
of the screen that you skip, like half of it.
Yeah, it's like saving something like 20 seconds. Oh, by the way, this game is counted by in-game time for competition. In our little boards, we have everything counted by in-game time. That's a detail that would be more important about some cutscenes that this run doesn't have because skips Relic Maze where skipping cutscene is actually more important. And now the second part of the mall, we have the new objects that are ziplines. Ziplines can bring you some interesting momentum. The strat for Carol is just letting go for the zipline as often as possible, and you can get maximum speed for a little section. As you can see, well, Carol has a bike, and I think I didn't mention about the bike is that the bike, actually Nacho did what I mentioned about by kicking accidentally instead of grabbing the wall. And the thing about a bike is that if you get hit 3 times in the same screen, you lose the bike. So you are on foot again, and Carol is really slow on foot, so you really don't want to lose the bike. And we can see how actually this run is pretty tight because Nacho got the second wrong warp. Actually, the only wrong warp for Carol is the second wrong warp for the other characters, but he took his time. So Basher is slightly behind and not really much. And we can see now how they're reaching the first boss fight in this run, that is Robo Panther, the boss in Fortune Knight. The boss in Fortune Knight has actually huge RNG influence on the fight. And another fun fact is that Carol is more effective fighting on the without the bike, but this fight is with bike, and you can't avoid that. It's only with bike, and you can't do anything about that. So it's a little slow. Carol DPS with the bike is not really good. The RNG, how effective bike is, you can see those bullet salvos that Panther throws. well, you can get 3 or 2 bullet salvos depending on RNG, and that actually changed completely the pattern because it's a scrolling fight and the boss is going off screen, and for every bullet salvo he makes, it's more prone to be out of the screen and unable to hit, so it's much better having 2 every time. A very not comfy part about this fight is when Panther actually gets up, and we can see that Nacho finished with 354 and Basher with 403, I guess. Yeah, 403. The problem when Panther gets up is that Carol has a double jump, but the hitbox is very, very awkward, so it's really hard to get there and deal good damage. About again, this adventure mode, right? So we have to skip cutscenes every time, but the time skipped by 2 entire levels is completely worth. So the second level on this run, the 4th level in the traditional way, but we'll call the levels by the order on this run. So it's the second level, Sky Battalion. It's a level that you have a main ship and you have 3 ships. You can enter in any of them, and to complete the stage, you have to clear all 3 ships before the boss fight. You can actually pick the order you use, but it's obviously more convenient starting by metal ship because it's closer to the point where you start, but also because Carol has the only bike in the level in Sky Battalion. A very, very fun fact. Basher survived. Okay. A very, very fun fact is that in Sky Battalion, you have only 1 bike, and exactly after that, you have that stairs of DNA cannons. DNA cannons, if they hit you once, they hit you actually enough time to make you lose the bike. So just a mistake there, and the only bike in the entire level is gone. So the second ship is Fire Ship. Fire Ship is Sky Battalion in general is a level that you can lose the bike everywhere because you have a lot of pellets raining from everywhere and a lot of objects hitting you and enemies and stuff, and you have to actually take care. Fortunately, there is a shield, and in this case it's a wood shield in the root, so you can take it just for safety. In normal mode, shields have 2 hits, so you can get hit twice before losing the shield, so that's a way to secure your bike, at least for a little more. Sky Battalion in this part has a lot of fireburns you can use to get higher faster in some sections. And then the boss fight here is this cute chopper that you kill with Wild Clouds. This is because I say that Carol is more effective with that bike. As you can see, the damage Carol deals with Wild Clouds is actually very huge, and she kills enemies pretty fast with it. That's a movement that requires pounce and attacking in the following frame while pouncing, and you can actually repeat Wild Clouds consecutively and get a lot of combos with them. Those are actually pretty nice, and it's one of the best DPS sources in the game. And now then Airship is the last one. Airship is a ship obnoxiously cycle based. You have those crystals you really want to avoid, and you have to take care about damage like the rest of the level. And in this case we can see how Nacho took an air shield and Basha took a metal shield and then the same air shield. That's just because preventing damage, taking care of the bike. The boss on this ship is this little thing, this ball that goes up, 1 hit every phase, and there are 5 phases, so you use the airborne and the walls to hit him fast. And then the boss of the stage, that is Dale. Prince Dale is, in the plot, is like Mad Prince, I guess, is the son of the King of Shigan, who is assassinated by Berebon, the bad guy of the game. And he's kinda poisoned with madness. That says the game. So you have to fight him. And there is on this peacock, and you have to hit every feather before hitting the main body. All the phases are pretty much the same, except the third one, because he has that race movement that makes him invulnerable, so you have to wait actually there. And then the rest of the fight is just the same thing. Okay. this fight is just watching Dale coming and going, and oh, you got second race. I saw what happened. Yeah, there's a thing about Dale. You, if it's possible, you have to prevent every attack for Dale, because the second race Nacho got are because he got some other phases with movements. If Dale doesn't have time to attack in the other phases, you never have a second race. So both finished actually pretty close, both around 4 minutes. So this race is actually pretty tight at the moment. And yeah, the prot is very crucial. It's very crucial, especially with cutscenes. J-Creek, the third level on this run, is actually a pretty fun one. It's a very fast level. You have the bike from the beginning, so you don't have to worry about Carol on foot form. So that's actually pretty nice. And actually, I see both very tight here. J-Creek is a level that has a lot of global cycles, but honestly, Carol doesn't care much about them. At least we didn't find a strat based on global cycles yet. And this global cycle in the second half is water moving on up and down since the first moment the level begins. So we can see the second screen is screen with actually a lot of objects you can use, like those bubbles you can use for getting high. There are some crystals. Nacho got the invulnerability crystal there. And there's another thing I didn't mention, and those are the jump pads, specially designed for Carol. Those things in the wall you can see Nacho and Basher used are jump pads. If you jump in one of them, you go to another, and it's a sequence. And normally jump pads are slower for speedrunning, but in this particular case they're very useful. So you can see a lot of ceiling mounts and springs and mid-boss, Nira. Nira is, how to say this properly? It's a bad girl. Nira, every time when she lands, is about to cast a shield. If she casts a shield, you have to hit her 3 times to break the shield and then kill the face. So you want to kill every face before that happens. Nacho actually got it pretty well, Basher didn't. Another fun fact is that Nira deals way too much damage, so this fight is seriously dangerous if you get hit way much times. And the risk of losing the bike in J-Creek is actually not much if you have a shield, but before getting a shield, actually you can have a bad input on Nira, and that is very punishing. The screen of the submarine is actually pretty fast for the other characters. It's not precisely the fastest for Carol, still is pretty much fun. And we can see how Nacho is actually finishing the screen. And then we can see Nira freezing herself again, but this time you don't fight her, she just fights herself. And then the path is unlocked and you can continue with the rest of the level. And then the boss fight. The boss fight in J-Creek for Carol is actually pretty fun. And then this model is one of the not much fights in the round that is more effective having the bike, but just for this phase, because you have a super crazy strat smashing bike claws. Bike claws is boosting and clawing, and you can mash them on the wall, so you can actually catch Serpentine and not letting him attack. There is a Serpentine movement that is the bullet train that is actually very painful to get because he's invulnerable when he does that, so you can do anything that just watch him. Then the second part is the chopper. The chopper is actually a pretty cool fight because you have to climb the wall and jump off and bounce and do as much world-class combos as possible. It's a heavily DPS based fight, and actually Nacho had a very nice chopper. Finished at 341. That's fair. And let's see, Basher. About this fight, it's an opportunity, and a thing that can happen and you really don't want is to take a bike accidentally, because those troopers are actually dropping gas cans, and if you touch one of them, and you get a new bike, so that's not very convenient. So the fourth level on this run is Trap Hideout. Trap Hideout is a level that has something very particular. You can see these lasers on the beginning of the level. Those are a local cycle, but something fun about them is that in adventure mode, you have a cutscene before them, so the cycle is actually different from the one you get in classic mode or playing the level from Time Attack. It's completely different, so you have to... Actually, I think I died on my PB, on my adventure mode PB here. Lasers deal way too much damage and they're a little annoying, but the rest of the level is actually pretty fun. You can unlock the path by breaking stuff, and there is this mid boss. You have to White Cloud, White Kicks to help. White Kicks is a movement for Carol that doesn't deal much damage as White Cloud does, but White Kicks grants you invulnerability, so that's very useful in some fights to prevent some damage and keep hitting. It's set on the lasers, right? That's a thing. And you can use the invulnerability from White Kicks for a lot of stuff on this round, but not for these lasers.
It's supposed to be her stage and her main ability doesn't work. It upsets me.
And they don't worry, they don't work for thermal base crushers as well. And second screen in Trap Hideout intro has a restart that is actually just for in-game time, because there is something particular about second screen in Trap Hideout. When you restart, you can actually have the movement unlocked in the first moment the game is loading, so you can move while the game is loading, and the timer is not loaded there, so you can save the time the timer is loading, basically. Third screen is just a long claim at the beginning, because third screen is actually very long. It lasts until the end of the stage. You have that mid boss in the middle, and then prepare to run Trap Hideout second half. That has a lot of cool tricks based on slope jumps, breaking those walls in the way, jump pads, springs, a lot of springs, really a lot of springs. We can see actually Nacho getting in the section with a lot of springs. And then Trap Hideout boss has something very particular, that you can actually pre-kill the boss in this level. And what means pre-kill? Well, exactly that is what happened after the pre-kill. And Spade hitbox is actually in the top part of the screen, so you can hit him before the fight is triggered. So but you have to take care, because you can't kill him actually. You have to leave him with least health as possible, but not killing him, because if you kill him, the game's off locks. Basically, because when the fight is triggered, Spade is completely invulnerable and acting like nothing happens. So instead of Yamcha, you have a very powered cell in the first version.
Roles, basically.
So after the pre-kill, you have to beat a lot of ninjas. There are 100 for Carol. For some reason, Formula are just 15, but I won't talk about that. And then you fight Spade, and he's dead. Now this is the 5th level. It's the 5th level. Thermal base in adventure mode. Ah, my brain hurts. Is 7. Let's see. Yeah, it's the 5th level. Thermal base is the 5th level in the running. It's Nacho's favorite by far, because Thermal Base has all the entire first half without bike, and the first screen zip is... Let's see if Nacho gets it. Oh, Nacho! What the... You got the zip! This is amazing!
I know, right?
It's not like Nacho is bad for the zip, it's just more like he hates it. He really hates the zip in particular, and he got it.
The whole thing
Wow.
sucks.
Thermal Base is very punishing overall, and that zip is really obnoxious for Carol. The same zip, Mila doesn't have it, but just skips the entire first screen zipping in the very beginning, and Lilac has a half zip, so if you fail as Lilac, you lose like 3 seconds and you have another chance. With Carol, you have only one chance to skip every 7 seconds, and is very tight to enter in the barrel. It's not really easy. And in second screen, as you can see, Nacho restarted. That is because there are some troopers on the way, and that's a way to actually clean the troopers on the way. Because if you restart, they just spawn, and you run, and they're not there. Troopers behavior is actually RNG based, but they have some patrolling patterns. They will shoot you and kill your speed. So not having them in the hallway is actually very comfy. So it's every star for lazy people, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't say if any game time is set for that. And then this is the squid. This is not the squid anymore. The squid drops a keycard because something about Thermal Base is that it's the first level with the keycard system. There are some doors locked, and you have to look for the keycard and then unlock the door to continue the level. One of the internal base in third screen, the door is actually locked by a keycard held by that squid. So you have to kill the first phase of the squid, and he drops the keycard, and you can move on. The mid boss in internal base is actually a pretty nice fight for White Claws for Carol, but it's actually a pretty awkward hitbox because it's actually very low. And Nacho had actually a very nice fight. Actually, don't tell me you're about to get the gold in Thermal Base, because seriously it looks that way. Well, let's remove the pressure on Nacho, and Thermal Base, you have the expectations, hype. You have the bike exactly after the mid boss, so Thermal Base second half is completely with bike. That is very comfy. Thermal Base second half is actually pretty fast with bike. It's surprisingly fast, I should say. And Nacho got the water skip. There are actually two options there. One is that water skip that consists on crushers, that consists on just being with the current and just busting against the current in the exact moment you detach from the ground. So that way you prevent the current and you can skip that stream. And there is another strat that is a clip that saves like one crusher cycle, something like 3 seconds. And those crushers are actually pretty dangerous because they touch 1 pixel of you and you just explode in feathers, and it's very violent. Nacho's about to fight the boss, and Nacho, this is actually a PvP phase for you. What's your PvP on this level? Wow. Oh man, tell my friend, because unless you really mess up, oh, you actually mess up. I completely jinxed you, sorry. Well, meanwhile, we can see Basher entering on Curse's screen. Actually, the race is still very tight. Just reminded that Thermal Base fight is around 30 seconds if it's perfect, so but Nacho lose actually. You lost like 15 seconds on the fight. Wow. Shit happens, this is a marathon. Marathon luck, don't worry. Yeah, that's the effect that Thermal Base does. So you can see how now Basher is pressing the crushers. He's alive, fortunately. And Nacho now is on the shmup. The shmup is this amazing section that you just do nothing, just hold quality gameplay. Yeah, pretty much. I think I didn't explain that Basher just did is fade out skip. The fade out skip in Thermal Base after the elevator is a thing that a fade out skip is literally what the name says, is skipping the fade out transition, and that transition being skipped saves a lot of in-game time and real time. Actually, not a lot, but all the fade out skips together saves a lot, and it consists in restarting or repeating and just unpausing after doing that. It happens in certain loading zones. Particularly, the particular condition has the Thermal Base one is if you reach the loading zone before the elevator reaches the top, you can use the fail skip in the very first frame to touch the loading zone. There are others that you have to have some speed, other more delayed, and earlier ones. And now both are in the shmup. Quality gameplay. You just find the sweet spot, hold attack button, and burn things. So now in the chat, people is asking if you Nacho are going for the zip in Battle Glacier. Okay, Nacho already spoiled that it's not going for the zip in Battle Glacier. Battle Glacier is the longest level in this run, and the first half is a little painful without bike. Honestly, in this particular section is not very comfy, but Nacho actually got a pretty decent speed from that slope. So this intro is actually going pretty well. And there is a bike that Nacho is not taking, but there is actually an earlier bike in this game, but the design of this level is very particular because you have that bike in a spot that you need actually to do a very hard trick to get. Well, level design. But Nacho goes safe, and the difference between getting the first bike and an optimal route with the later bike is not much, not more than 2 seconds. So actually, it's more safe just ignoring the first bike if you don't trust on subpixels. Because yeah, this game is heavily subpixel based. I already said that, I can't say that again, because it is. Now, once with the bike, Battle Glacier becomes actually very fluid level, very fast, but probably the difference between Carol and the other characters relies more in the time she doesn't have a bike, but still Battle Glacier is a level where Carol record is pretty close to Lilac record. It's just 2 seconds behind and having a terrible boss fight, so it can go to 350 or something like that. The third screen in Battle Glacier has this thing, the drills you have to hit to break the walls and open the path. And as Carol with the bike, the most efficient strat to do that is boosting and clawing, and then keeping the momentum from the first boost to proceed. And there is a wall with 2 drills, and the alignment is pretty special there. Sometimes you can think you hit both in the same height, but that didn't happen. And you can see then the triple drill wall, and Nacho is in the mid boss, is in Absolution. Absolution is the guy that you can actually manipulate with your movement. This boss is a nightmare for the casual game player. Seriously, I can recall me dying like 30 times on this boss fight in my first playthrough, maybe. Yeah, and also it's not just much damage. When you get hit by one of his lasers, you actually get completely moved by the other side of the screen, and it's really hard to control the position after that. So Nacho now is in Battle Glacier 2 and is completely ignoring the save. There is a save with those platforms at the right of this mini boss he's fighting right now, and you can actually use the movement of those platforms to enter in the wall and zip up and save like 20 seconds or 25 seconds or something like that. But the thing about that is that that is a pixel perfect save. If you fail the right pixel, if you are like 1 pixel at the right, you can get soft lock, and soft lock for Carol means having to restart, and having to restart for Carol means losing the bike. So it's really a lot of time lost. And Nacho is now in last screen in Battle Glacier, where we can see Basher entering in Absolution and having actually a good fight. I think probably you already noticed is that Nacho fought Absolution without bike, and Basher is fighting it with bike instead. About which one is faster, but are about the same time. The only difference is that with bikes you can actually deal an extra hit in the first cycle, and that saves a few seconds, and just that. But hey, every second matters. I completely kill for those 2 seconds. Nacho already finished the switches section and not losing the bike. It's actually pretty easy to lose the bike in Battle Glacier. You have a lot of bullets raining from everywhere, and Nacho almost got a great fighter kill. He barely missed by 1 health. And Nacho is already skipping the drills, though that last wall can be actually skipped by just climbing, which is actually pretty comfy because you seriously don't want to hit 3 drills on the way to break the wall. And Nacho is now in the spot of the boss fight. The boss fight is again pre-sale. Do you remember that crazy guy poisoned with madness? Well, he's here again and with his beautiful creation. So the strat we use here to kill him is is exactly this. Is what Nacho is doing is getting on the wall. Dale has a shield. You have to break the shield first. 7 phases, 2 shield hits each one, and 1 hit on Dale. So you can use the walls to jump on him and hitting once, 2 with the double jump, and a 3rd hit before falling. That's the strat, the most efficient strat. A perfect fight is around 70 seconds. It's actually pretty hard to get. Especially because actually Carol is one of the more consistent, it's probably the most consistent category in this level, but particularly the mechanic about climbing walls and jumping from them repeatedly is a thing that you can fail just because you can wet claw accidentally, you can not get the momentum you want for the jump. It's a fight that looks super easy when it's well done, but it's not that much. Nacho is now in FD1, Final Journal 1, which is the 7th level. Yeah, the 7th level on this run. Final Journal is the last section of the game, is divided in 4 parts. FD1 is probably shorter. Yeah, it's pretty much a shorter for Carol. FD1 has a lot of very fancy tricks once you get the bike, because you have like 35 seconds without the bike in the best case, where we can see Basho fighting Dale. Actually, Basho is having a not bad fight. Naturally got the bike in FD1, and another thing about FD1 is how actually cycle based it is. FD1 is a very fast level. By the way, you have only 1 bike, so take care of it.
My bike.
Oops! Nacho lost the bike in FD1, that's not good at all. He doesn't have a chance to get the bike until just before the boss in this level. And actually, the boss fight is better without bike. But at least for some pixels, you can have a bike. That's something. By the way, Nacho actually did something pretty fun that is probably the only runner who actually completed that, and is the Carol bikeless speedrun. Can you say something about that?
Like, man, I really hate myself. I'm fucking being miserable when you apply this one.
Well, basically that. Carol on foot is pretty painful, and Nacho has what you need to have in order to do that run. So that's a fun category that actually we haven't made, but we cool. So Basho is pretty much actually cutting the gap now, thanks to Nacho losing the bike. Nacho is about to fight the boss in FD1. This is a syntax version that deals a lot of damage and moves a lot, and you want to wet claw as much as possible. Then the first phase he shoots you, the second phase he makes pogo, the third phase he spins and cuts stuff, and the last phase is throwing some laser balls from the corner, and you want to kill all of them as fast as possible. And right, FD1 as level is pretty fun, really fun. Is but actually I was there I think just in case one of the runners today couldn't make it, and I actually got a new PB on Carol. FD1 is 145. It's a mid, not perfect yet. Shout out to Punchy. And Nacho is now in FD2. Final Journal 2 is a completely bikeless level, which is pretty awkward. Nacho actually broke a box, but that box, for those who are not very familiar with Freedom Planet, that's the center of the world. That box is the box that decides what is good and what is wrong. That box is the final judgment of everything on this game. And actually Carol can use it too, but it's so very sub-pixel based, very frame perfect, and seriously really dumb. Actually, I think I got it only once, and still I'm kind of developing a task FD2 that has it, but it's seriously not recommendable to try. And that box is very crucial for Lilac particularly, and actually useful for Mila too, to skip up and skip like 50 seconds in the level. For Carol, it's something like that, actually not much difference, because it's a level with a lot of vertical movement and a lot of walls destroying momentum. So comparing with other characters, Carol is not that much slow, because Carol can bounce and put herself on 6 pixels per frame, is 5 pixels per frame the basic speed for walking for each character. And Lilac and Mila, if both of them didn't have Dreadbox, anyways, they don't have much space for moving on this level. Nacho is already in the second part of the stage. The second part of the stage has interesting thing. Brevon looks at you and decides to just cut the oxygen, because he just realized right now that his troops don't need oxygen. They're robots. They don't breathe. So he really realized that he actually can cut the oxygen and makes you choke, but the only choke you can get is right here. It's right here. Mash, Nacho, mash, 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 mash. Nice. This is a zip that Carol has a particularity about zips. She can bounce and move during the zips, and this zip is based on actually mashing a lot inside of the wall, so you can move and zip for more time. Then that restart warp, it's not exactly restart warp, but if you don't restart before the boss fight, you trigger a cutscene that is hilarious, because normally cutscenes on this game tends to stop the in-game timer, but this one doesn't. In-game timer is not on the screen, but it's still running. If you see the cutscene and everything, then you'll notice how the timer is 10 seconds longer, and that's not good. So we restart and we save real time and we save in-game time. That restart is needed. So that was actually a pretty nice fight and a pretty nice FD2 natural. And the boss fight is Giga Serpentine, is the ultimate version of Serpentine. I don't know exactly what drug he drank, but it's a thing that Brevon used not only Serpentine, we'll see that later. And that super version of Serpentine, yeah, in FD3 you have a lot of fights. Now we can see Basher, he failed the entire save in FD2, so he's doing the other route. Actually, there is a secondary save there. It's not like you have to mash onto the top. You can actually have alternative ways that are not much slower. Nacho is right now in FD3. Final Dragon 3 is a level very fast. It is probably one of the levels where Carol is very fast running through the level. Actually, in the past, there was a time that Carol time was sub-Lilac. It's not anymore, but that was something. At least for that time. And Nacho is now entering the hallway. The hallway for Carol is kinda awkward. You have to be jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping while bossing, because if you go on the ground, then you crush the enemies, and that gives you hit lag, and that stops you for some frames. So, whoa, Nacho. Holy shit, Nacho. Wow, Nacho. Well, Nacho, for some reason, somehow kept the bike on that hallway after being hit by a DNA cannon and a bullet from a cannon. Sick dodges, dude. Well, thing is, Nacho is now entering in the boss fight. This boss fight has something very particular too, is that you can use a fail skip there, but you really don't want to use the fail skip. If you use a fail skip in the previous screen before the boss fight, you can see how everything goes normally, but in the middle of the cutscene, the game restarts. Do you know about that? Well, the game restarts during the cutscene while Mila is transforming. So this boss fight formula is actually for Carol is actually good for White Cloud combos, but after each phase, Mila tends to fly, and when she is in the air, it's actually very high for Carol. Still, bike damage is not good enough, so you prefer really being on foot and White Clawing as much as you can. Every time you kill a phase, she'll be flying, so you have to prepare a good combo when it's rising and when it's landing. That's the best strategy. And well, Mila is dead. I already spoiled the plot. The same drug that Serpentine drank was injected by Broom to Mila, so Mila transformed into a monster, and you can see her brain on last phase. Well, thing is, Mila is dead, and we have to get a sweet revenge. So Final Dragon 4 is the place for that. Final Dragon 4 is a very vertical level that you have a lot of blocks and stuff on the way, but it's pretty vertical. There is a zip. Probably you noticed in the very beginning that part where there were like 5 blocks in stair shape. Well, you can stay in a very particular subpixel there, and you can see the entire screen, but is, as I said, a particular subpixel. That shape is not only horizontal, it's also vertical subpixel based, because you can be in one subpixel and just jumping on the same spot, you land and you are in a different subpixel. Well, for that shape, you need a particular horizontal subpixel and vertical subpixel, you need both. And there's another zip, the normal zip. Well, Nacho actually didn't get it, so he preferred to go without the step. There is another zip that is easier to get, is at least it's not subpixel based, but still you can fail it sometimes. Actually, in Lilac record by Flutterby, he actually lost some time there, like 4 cycles. And the second screen in FD4 is you can see that kill laser in the middle, and you want to avoid being catched by that laser because that laser kills you. It's not a laser that actually instantly kills you. It's like the laser hits you a lot of times, and you can actually damage boost a little, but as Carol on foot, it's impossible to save a cycle by doing that, so being not necessary, you don't have a reason to get hit. Lilac, for example, you have a strategy with damage boost there to save another cycle, and Carol is just climbing and climbing and climbing, and she has grabs a metal shield. Metal shield in this game makes you invulnerable to spikes, so the reason because Nacho got that metal shield is because he can climb on the spikes in the right wall in the level, so that's a way to skip a loss of cycle. In the meanwhile, we can see Basher going for the normal zip. Well, he decided to not using it either, so going quite traditional way. And now Nacho is starting the boss fight. Just a friendly reminder, there are cuts in here, and if you are a classic mode runner not accustomed to cutscenes, you may take care of this part, because I actually killed a PvP by just quitting the run instead of a cutscene, and that was a PvP. I clear PvP by a lot of time. So people is betting for you, Nacho. Well, fifth phase of the fight is actually Absolution. Again, the same ship we fought in Battle Glacier, but this time is a more powerful version with more attacks, but also weak about health. The other Absolution you have to hit 14 times to kill him, and this one just then. And the second phase of the boss fight is the one we covered on too, that because it's Baron 5 second phase, you get. And this one is now we have a pattern there, but actually that is a fun thing. This boss fight in the previous patch was RNG based, but then the developer made us the favor to change it to a pattern, so that's fine, that's great. So thanks, Strife. Time for Nacho.
Yeah, how long is in the crystal?
And the third phase on the boss fight round 3 is a very mobile enemy. He moves a lot, so you have to kill him before the first cycle finish if you want a quick kill. But in any case, just surviving is good sometimes. And that fight in particular, Brevon throws you, and he deals a lot of damage, so you want to actually avoid damage there. So Nacho finish, and we can see Basher actually in Brevon 2. Actually, it was a close race. A pretty close race.
My bike.
Basher is actually having a nice round 2. About round 2, he has a pattern now, but it's not completely pattern based. He has a pattern just for the first 5 movements, and then after that is RNG. Yes, I said mobile. Because typing on mobile is hard. So final in-game time for Nacho was 35-25. It's okay. And Basher is now in the final boss. Let's go, Basher. I can remember Nacho using a very fun music on this fight in the marathon in the past. That was an epic meme. So, and time for Basher. So, what's your thought, Nacho? How it was?
I mean, aside from Final Round of 1 being a car crash, it was nice.
Well, that was a good way to put it. Nah, not that bad, Basher. Don't blame yourself. Actually, this is your first kind of marathon run, so good job, Basher, and good job, Nacho. Both you were actually great, and I want to see Basher's final time. Skip. Well, for people interested on this game, we'll be doing a Lilac race next Saturday. Just check Speed Gaming schedule and you'll probably find it. And there's a randomizer that is a character randomizer, to be more precise, run race, and a Mila run later this month. So stay tuned, and I think that's all. Remember that some pixels loves you. And final time for Basher was 37. 2 minutes behind. Well, it's not actually a huge difference. It's okay. This category in particular is very consistent. You can lose the bike. You can have a lot of not really happy accidents through the run, and it's actually hard to get on this level at Carol. So nice job, guys. It was my pleasure to commentate this race. So, well,
I think we're done now.
never knows. Well, we're done. So, I hope you're right, Basher. I can't talk for you, but I think you're right. Pretty hyped. And same for Nacho. Well, you can talk. Now, if you want, it's a different thing. So, we're done for now. So, what's next in the schedule? Remember to support the Speed Gaming event and support other runners.
I think this might have been the last thing of today for Speed Gaming 2. Let me check. Oh no.
Okay.
There's a link to the past randomizer, and I think about 15
minutes. Oh, spicy.
So yeah.
So well, stay tuned. I have to link to the past randomizer, and my pleasure to commentate. Sorry if my accent is too weird. I'm not very accustomed to speaking English, so well, Thank you, people, for watching, and thanks, guys, Speed Gaming guys, for inviting, and the racers, of course. Bashan, Nacho, Joe, but they great. So, thanks, and stay tuned.